Thanks for joining us on another episode of Always Be Connecting. My name is Lindsay Houston, and running a small business, there's a whole stack of challenges, including trying to get your business from third to fourth gear, having a healthy cash flow, and the support of the community. And early on, you often find also that there's not a lot of recognition. And our next guest recently won the Kwik Kopy Franchisee of the Year. So I'm really intrigued as to what it took to get to that point. And there's some other interesting parts of his story as well. So thanks for joining us, Daniel McKenzie.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, sort of how you got into working at Kwik Kopy.
Well, that's a long story.
Start big.
So printing's been in my family for a long time. I used to run around my uncle's press room. He was one of the first owners of a Kwik Kopy franchise.
Okay.
So when I was a young teenager, I used to go in and run around his press room when I was a 13, 14-year-old.
How long has Kwik Kopy been around? Here's your history question.
Years.
Okay.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
I should know that. And then not long after that, my father bought one, and then my uncle bought another two. So we had 4 in the family.
Yeah.
Straight out of school, I worked for my dad in his Kwik Kopy at Neutral Bay, and I didn't like it very much. So I went off and did my own thing, and then I was doing transport logistics, my own businesses, and I broke my leg and I couldn't work in it. Dad brought me back in, and I worked for him for a little bit, and I just found a passion for it. So I loved it, and then in 2013 we bought Miller Street.
That's pretty prominent Kwik Kopy, is it?
Yeah. It was failing actually. It was the worst. There were about 100 at the time, 100 Kwik Kopys, and we're all ranked by sales. And we bought number 100 of 100. So we bought the worst of the worst.
So it's a little bit like a Wrexham story.
Yeah. We didn't even think of doing that. We should have had a film crew in there. It would have been perfect. God. And it was tough. Like when we bought it, we didn't have staff.
Okay.
So it was just me the first 6 months.
So you really went in bare bones.
We had nothing. We had the previous owner really was ready to move on. And we took it on. It was I don't know how he was paying the bills. So we came in and
there is a TV show out in that, isn't there?
it was.
Does it feel like a TV show?
Some days.
Yeah.
That's another conversation. I have a show in mind, but we 6 months. I just worked on the bones of the business, working our basic client, like the clients that came over from the original owner.
Yeah.
We had 1 or 2 that we kept, but pretty much the rest we just started from scratch.
So like, what was your guide of knowing how to sustain a business while improving a business? Did you have a business coach or?
We did. Well, actually, the person that was really instrumental for me, who is still to this day one of my great friends and mentors, is CY Thew. She's was BDM, now it's ASM at Kwik Kopy. I'm actually meeting her after this.
Yeah.
She's just was instrumental. So
what's her background? Is like she's busy.
Print.
Okay.
Yeah. She actually used to run Brisbane is a multi-site. So she used to run the multi-site for them. And then she moved into Kwik Kopy Australia.
So she knew what it should look like.
Yep.
When it wasn't number 100.
Yeah. And she knew. And even now, we spitball. I'm like, if I'm looking at new staffing or new equipment or we've grown now. At the end of last year, we actually took on a second floor in our building because we outgrew the ground floor. And even that, sitting and working through numbers with her and staffing and how we get that mix to work across 2 floors of production and get everyone to talk. We put a fair bit of work into that. So having the right people that are doing it.
Yeah.
And that was groundbreaking for a lot of reasons. I'd seen my uncle do that in his Clarence Street. He was Clarence Street in the city. I watched him do 2 floors, so I had a little bit of background, but no one else that I know of in the system is doing that. So we had to work out new systems.
So you had the kind of language and the understanding of how to work with others.
And new people.
Not everyone can work with a manager or a business development manager or someone so in unity to actually make something work. So that's a special relationship that you already had there, hey?
Yeah, very special. CY's been fantastic. Sing her praises every chance I get.
Yeah.
So we
So what do you do in sort of between the two of you to ensure harmony?
We go through, so to be from our business planning right through to if we're getting new equipment that's new for this, like we have a new piece of equipment that's new for the system. We went through and did all our ROIs and work out what we've got to be doing to afford that machine, and if it works. So where our next staffing works. So yeah, lots of things that I didn't have the experience with that, and because she's had the experience not just with me but with other franchises with the staffing, and that was really helpful for me.
So not one of you's like does things on impulse. You got to work together.
Yeah, and no, nothing impulsive. No,
Okay.
I like to plan.
Yeah. And so it started with the two of you, or
no? So it started off. My sister and my father was in the business as well. My father passed away a couple of years ago, so I still own the business with my sister, and my stepmother took over from my father when he passed away. But they're so we go through. Yeah, we have lots of planning with them as well. But yeah, that's our planning. It's just making sure we're getting our mix right, and it all sort of comes down to getting the mix right and getting our sales. If we don't have any of the sales to support it, then it all falls over. So
and working with family as well. People say don't do it.
Yes, people say that.
So what works for you?
I have a really good relationship with my sister.
Yeah.
And that ebbs and flows. Sometimes it was tough, or we have sort of heated debates, probably more than you would if it wasn't family.
Yeah. I found that in the past as well. Yeah. And I think you got a shortcut with them as well. So you can get things done faster.
Yep.
Because you know how to coordinate.
Yep, definitely. And she's, with me being in Melbourne, if I need to, and she's on the ground here, I just call her up and she'll help out and stuff. So
okay. So, well, that's another interesting part about your business is that you don't live around here. You don't live near Miller Street, Kwik Kopy.
So 4 years ago, we made the choice. My now wife and I, we ummed and ahed about where we're going to live. She was living in Melbourne at the time, and I was in Sydney.
Okay.
COVID hit, and we'd had this. I mean, like Sydney and Melbourne do. There's this tussle back and forth of where's who's better. And I, born and bred in Sydney, was saying Sydney definitely.
Yeah.
And then we started sort of weekend on, weekend offing to Sydney and Melbourne, and I just loved Melbourne. So we made a choice. We did some planning again, and I moved to Melbourne and now run the centre virtually from my desk at home into my desk at work.
Because you like a challenge?
Who doesn't like a challenge? But again, I couldn't do any of that without the right people. Like my team in Miller Street are just amazing. So having my sister to fall back on here if something's up. If my studio manager, who has changed since I originally moved down. We have a new studio manager, but Shanti is just who's our she runs everything. Keeps it ticking like a Swiss timepiece.
Yeah. So what's important to you from your desk in Melbourne? Is it people management? Is it recognition? Is it
what's important to me to see out of my guys, or what am I looking for?
What's your sort of day to day?
Day to day for me is really client management.
Yeah. Okay.
The most important thing I've found with staffing is trust. Because and we originally were doing. I was part of a production meeting every morning so I could check where everything was. We had our IT systems set up so that when the work phone rang, it rang on my phone as well, so I could be receiving calls. So I had to be, as well as having it all our jobs tracking, I needed to know where everything was as well. And now we have someone in as a CSR, and she's looking
CSR,
after
what's that?
customer support.
Yeah, okay.
Representative. So, which is really like client. We originally looked for a salesperson, and then I realised after interviewing a lot of salespeople that I didn't want a salesperson.
Interesting, yeah.
So, because they were really about getting a sale, and we built our business around relationships and
100%.
And we didn't really want someone that was going to go, force someone into a sale.
Yeah.
Just for a sale. We want people to be a good fit is what we're looking for. I'm
part of a networking group, and they often say it's all about farming, not hunting. So having somebody on the side of the customer is pretty crucial. Being remote, do you have you got the danger of breeding mistrust because maybe you're talking on email or you don't have that eye contact and that reading each other in that way. So how have you found that you've needed to put in some work
staff side
systems?
or client side?
Both, yeah.
Client side, for about the first 2 years, no one really even knew that I wasn't there because when the phone rang, I'd pick it up.
Sure, yeah.
And then I was, I'm the one on email or, so I was interacting with them a lot, and the business moved a lot. That even like our Neutral Bay one, especially that we've still got, its biggest clients, I don't think have ever been in there. Like it's all email and then we deliver. A lot of the communication changed, and I'm a big fan of being in front of people, which is why the remote really, the virtual really is a struggle for me because I get that energy from people and I like that. So yeah, it's definitely been different. The staffing side of things, I stopped being part of the daily production meetings and let the guys handle it themselves.
Well, that's sort of giving trust in anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and well, we worked out that if I wasn't trusting them to get we enter in all our information into the system, and then we can track it going through the business. It was a bit redundant doing that again and going, okay, well, where's this, because it's already there. And what I realized is I've got to trust them to, once we put it in, that it happens the way it should.
Yeah.
And they're excellent about it. There's, and what we've moved to is I now have meetings with Shanti, and we just talk about, well, what are the pitfalls? What are we hitting? What's our speed bumps? What are we, what's a concern?
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything's smooth sailing. So.
Very interesting. Another person once told me that the best way to manage people is to hire good people and then get out the way. And it sounds like that's what you've literally done. I'm moving interstate, guys. You've got this.
It was. Some days are very stressful. Like we do a lot of signage, and you can't do signage remotely. So I have a big client in Sydney, and they're nationwide. So I actually look after all the signage. The guys make it in North Sydney and send it to me in Victoria. And then I'll go around and do those installations down there myself, which is great. It's all seeing people. But I love Simon Sinek. I'm a big fan of
Book cover. Start with why.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I listened to an interview that he did with was it the CEO of a company that builds machinery.
Okay.
And he said, so tell me about what you do. And he said, we build great people that do extraordinary things.
Okay.
And I was like, he never spoke about the machinery. It was all about the people. And I loved that because it's empowering your guys to not just look after what they're doing in their own little space, but to keep an eye on what's happening to your teammates, how what you're doing is affecting them. So that's been something that I love that quote. It stuck with me. So how do we empower our people to just be the best them?
Yeah, well, that's what we're finding out with this podcast. The more we talk to people, it's all about people. Like, it's what the sitting on this rock.
Yeah,
might mean
the client side as well. Like we have a large portion of our business is events based, so we actually built the business and the machinery we have around about the speed with which we can produce things. For the event space. But our events customers have gone from one company to another and just bring us with them because of the trust that we've created. You know, you don't sell to companies, you sell to people. Like, it's the people that are impacted, not a company. So I love that side of it. I love the people and again, actually being in two places means that I can help.
Yeah.
So the Sydney clients that have events down there, I can help.
So you were number 100. What's your rank at the moment? Like,
I think we're just outside the top 10 at the moment.
Okay.
So by
and
sales,
that's more now, isn't it? There'll be more stores.
It's actually less. I think there's 90 or 92.
Yeah.
Around there.
So what does it take to go up the Premiership like that?
A lot of yes. That's
a lot of what?
A lot of yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
what do you mean by yes? Like positivity or agreeing to things, or
definitely.
Like getting things done?
Yeah. Getting it done is one thing, but we have a. So we grew to initially take out the franchise of the year in 2017, so which was based on the previous year's figures. So within 3 years, essentially, we'd taken out that. We grew the company 4 times the size.
Okay.
And most of that was when people came in, say yes. And not just yes, and my team now know this about me. It's not just yes, and not the words, but the mindset of F yes. Not just yes, but you bet we can. Yeah. And the team,
and we'll do it real good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Quality quickly. And when when I had the team that we won with in 2017, they used to crack up because I had my classic line was I'd stand there and have a conversation with a client at the desk at the front counter. They'd walk out. I'd walk back and go, okay, guys, good news, bad news. We've got this awesome job. Bad news is I've no idea how we're going to do it. So let's sit down and work it out. And we'd sit down and we'd do it. We call it a campfire. We'd sit down and do a camp. We'd all huddle around. And
how hard can it be?
And we just nut it out. And sometimes it was logistics. Sometimes it was pushing, new technologies that we hadn't used before or how materials. Fun. And now we do the same thing with if we've got something new, we work it out. We work out what's new, what's out there, and how do we push that to our clients if they want to, if that helps.
Well, it's interesting you said that because I worked in a bar and the owner, I was the manager of a bar at the time, said, anyone who crosses your threshold, you do not turn away. they've come to see you and you're going to help them out. So it's like that
That's
kind of
great.
service of, So yeah, very exciting. So what else was happening? Sort of like, where did you start? Like 250 or like?
For sales wise?
Yeah. Because you're
When we
like
bought the business.
million plus now. Hey.
Yeah. So we bought it. It was turning over just over $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
And when we first won Franchise of the Year, we'd grown it to just under 800. So we were pretty proud of that.
100%.
And that's where the joy of the franchise came in, was when we took over and I just started going around. I hadn't made many friends with other owners working for my dad. Once I got to own Miller Street, I just started making, like, I had the time because I'd go through and call the clients that I wanted to for the day. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? And I call other owners and have a talk to them about what they're doing or help. And, and there was one of them, we now have such good friends in so much of the system. But Luke from Artarmon, I had a conversation with him about what they were doing with their machinery because we had to upgrade. And he goes, look, you can buy like for like and then you'll attract the same work. Or you can buy the next thing up and then fill it with work. And then you're taking that set. So we did that. And that's really an attitude we adopted for all of our equipment. Now we go up and we load it with the better machinery, do more work, fill it up. But having those conversations with people that are doing it live is a huge help.
And it's interesting because you have that very naturally being a franchisee, but everyone should be doing it. Really, I think there's something about having a peership, if that's even a word, a peership with your competitors of having a friendship with a competitor. You can be competitive still, but then still ask for advice.
Yep.
Are you stealing from each other like work, or can you both coexist? You know what I mean? Like, can Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, they can both make money on their own terms. They don't have to ignore one another, or there's still
enough out there. We so funny you say that. I think we've been in Miller Street for 2 years, and we had another printer across the road, and I'd walk past him hundreds of times, and I just said, I think I can say good day, and I went in, introduced myself, and we got chatting, and within a couple of weeks, he said, "Hey, I don't do this sort of printing."
And now you're referral friends.
Can you do this for me? And what we ended up doing was actually, and it was for a client that we had.
Yeah.
And we were doing it for him, for that client as well. But there was never a thought of like, the last thing we were doing was taking it and then go, oh, I'm taking that client from you. It was, we do it for you and then that's your thing. But there was no competition, and that's like, there's enough for all of us.
Yeah. We
just, we were just friendly with him, and he ended up moving out of the area, and we maintained the friendship for a while. Like, it was, I'm a big fan of getting to know everyone in your area. Like, we're all doing the same thing. Like, we can all help each other out if we need to. So.
Interesting that sometimes the guy across the road doing the same thing as you can become one of your strongest referral partners as well. Yeah,
he was great, and he ended up merging with another printer out of area, and he was just a lovely guy. And when you walk past a competitor hundreds of times, and you start creating a story in your head about what they're doing, or if they're the bad guy, or if they're the good guy and you're the bad guy. And then I'm like, I just want to remove all these questions out. So I just walked through the door and said g'day.
Sure.
And he was just the
loveliest guy. It's a weird state of mind to be in, isn't it? Like, making this narrative.
Yeah, the story you tell
About-
yourself.
Someone who goes home to their family just like everybody else does.
Yeah, and it was one of the greatest things we did. It was just, it worked for us. So.
Yeah. So do you think like part of that mindset of like you've come to be able to make friends with everyone locally? Is that something that's been really? Do you think that's been the thing that's made you successful?
I don't know if that. I don't know.
I don't know. You don't
Hey.
have to like say no. It's not the people. It's this process
it's
that
a
I put
secret
in.
AI algorithm that I've been creating for years. Wah. No, our business is completely people. Like there's definitely, and I like people. Like I like talking. I like knowing. I like knowing about people. Like we have customers that come in and I mean I don't see them now, but they used to come in and just see how we're going. Like just and I always empower my guys when someone comes in if you want to have a chat, learn about them. So if you can have a conversation and say, so how's the family? Oh yeah, how are the kids? Hey, if you know about the kids' games or oh you went on holidays, how was the holiday? We have a client that I know just went to Scotland and my heritage is Scottish. So we had a big conversation, we had about a 20-minute conversation about nothing to do with work, but just
Finding those common.
And I said to my guys, don't be in too much of a rush. Genuinely be interested, because if you're being fake, then they'll say that. But want to know about people because we want to, because they probably want to know about you too.
Well, interestingly, the previous podcast that we did, two-parter, it was all about listening and speaking, and they were saying that it's important to have that tuning time. If you're going to be two people organising a task, printing a sign or whatever, you should have the time at the beginning to tune into each other, and then you'll organise that task better than if you just go straight in and go, right, printing job. Like you're able to like. Yeah,
if you're not
understand.
In tune, then you're going, okay, well, I've got my idea about what you want, and you've got your idea about what I'm doing, and then if you're not in tune, you end up getting something that's green that was meant to be orange.
Nose as well.
Start saying nose, yeah. And that's what we don't want.
So what's next for? What's your next goal?
Our goals. I spend a lot of time. We always have sales goals, and I think goals are important. I made the mistake early on of I just looked at sales goals, and even though I have business partners, and I'd get to the end of a month or a week, I'd have a good day, I'd call them and I'm all excited, and they're like, oh yeah, but they've got their things going on, and they're excited, but they've got their own things going on as well. And our goals were always, and that was my thing, was sales goals, go. And I remember when we broke the $1 million barrier, and I was over the moon. And straight away I went, what's my next goal? 1.2. And I didn't take any time to savor the fact that we got there. And it was such an empty win. I'm like, I've got it, next thing.
Yeah.
And then I sat back and I went, well, what have we got that's not sales? And I went, we've got this amazing team that are producing some things that no one else in Australia is doing.
Yeah.
With people that love to come to work every day.
Yeah.
They just thoroughly enjoy what they do. They're just like what we've actually created. The sales is something that's important for us to keep growing, but the growth that we had personally was far more rewarding than the dollars in the bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have sales targets.
So what are some examples of like people growth targets?
So our growth, We've gone away. I think you had a chat with Sonia, and she talked about like we have a lot of stuff for us as owners.
Yeah.
We have sales clubs, performance groups. We go to conferences. One of the things I saw was a bit of a letdown was that we didn't have that for our teams. So I actually take my team to our conferences always. Or yearly we have a conference one year. And we have a sales summit or catch up the following year. My team always goes to that.
Yeah.
But they don't have the month-to-month stuff. So we're currently trying to set up like a performance group for our guys so I'm allocating time each month where they can go and do training or get better at something to improve them in what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
something in it for them.
Something in it for them because I don't want them to feel like, firstly, they're not worth it, or secondly, that they're stagnating in their role.
Yeah, or it's you're the rule maker.
Oh, yeah, I get to go and do all the stuff and see the people and you guys are just in here. I don't like that. I want them to feel like, well, because we can have all the fanciest bits of equipment in the world, but without great people to run it, they can just be boat anchors. So we want our guys to be the best, feel the best, So, and it's important for us to put that time and energy into them. So, again, building better people, building people that, get to feel like they're the best at what they do.
And is there any stories that you want to sort of share of people that have done something particularly? It's hard to single them out, I'm sure.
We have a few. We've had, so we do. One of them was we do work for Transport for New South Wales, and at one point, this was when they were back in RMS, and the North Connects. That was originally had a different name.
Okay.
And on a Saturday morning, now we were only a 9 to 5, roughly, 8:30 to 5, Monday to Friday business. I was at my daughter's softball game on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I get a call from my contact at RMS, and she's like, Dan, we've got a little thing going on. We have media coming tomorrow, Sunday, so we can launch this new project. And we've just decided we're going to completely change the name of it. And we have banners, brochures, flags. I'm like, okay, so what are you thinking? And she goes, we need to reprint everything. Then we need to reprint it today. And that day and the Sunday, I had some of my guys come in and we reprinted everything, on the weekend. And I'm like, hey, guys, you don't have to, but it's the weekend. And everyone's like, yeah, F yes.
Beautiful.
So, and we just got in and got it done.
Yeah.
And
did you get pizza after?
Oh, everything. So when I'm in town, I'm like, whatever you want. No, when I'm in town, we normally do, if I'm here for 2 days, so I've got an overnight, we all go out for dinner, or we go, bowling, or team building things are important. So
you were working late because you're a sign printer. It's my little Sabrina Carpenter.
well, no one.
I'm down with the kids.
Printers traditionally, and even now, a lot of, especially big guys, it's very rigid on times when they work, and when it's after hours, shop closed. So, a decade ago when we took on Miller Street, my first thing was I printed my cards and I put my mobile on it, and I said, you can call me from 7 a.m. till about 9, any day of the week. And I think that, and especially with events, because things happen, and for our big clients that were always working outside of hours, I'd say call me if there's something coming through in the morning that you need to pick up at 8:30 when we open. let me know because I'll come in early and we'll get it ready so it's sitting there ready for you.
Yeah, right.
And it
because that's when they're going to need you the most.
Yeah. When the shop's closed and people are trying to call a landline and no one's getting through, and they can go, hey, I can call you on your mobile and get through directly, and we can sort something out. Yeah. Which is more common now, but it was definitely less common in 2013. So
very interesting. So like, there's a heap in there to dissect, especially as a small business owner. And like, again, it goes back to treating people nicely and lifting other people up and things like that. As a sort of final piece, do you want to spruik your team, spruik your business?
Sure.
Tell people where to find you and what you do?
Sure. Well, we print engaging print, and my team. So I've got Shanti's my studio manager. She's my go-to. She's actually the one that now I'm in Melbourne. She a lot of the time will finish up work and go home, have dinner, then come back in and just get everything right for the day. She's that like just brilliant at what she does. She's has done more than I could ever ask of her, and very grateful. We have Brendan, who's our production in large format, does all our signage and large format graphics like posters, banners, that sort of thing. Oscar's our small format guy, does all of our business cards, brochures. So he's fantastic, and we've got Af, who's our CSR, and that's our little team. We currently have one of my sisters helping out doing finishing, and and they're just a great bunch. You know, we were really fortunate to have them with us in Fiji when we got the most recent Franchise of the Year award. And it's when you go around print businesses, it's people going into Officeworks and going, oh, I really wanted good print. It's like going to McDonald's and looking for fine food. You're not going to get it. The guys that we have as our team are print professionals that really take on, well, how do I do this? How do I create something and do the best at it? And I think they do a really good job of that. So
amazing.
I'm very, very proud of them. Shanti's the one that, hey, we've got to bump this job out as in our event space at 1 a.m. and she'll be there at 1 a.m. unpacking it. So eternally grateful.
What a great local business story.
A great guy. So come and see us. We're down at Miller Street. Yeah. Kwik Kopy at Miller Street. We're
no challenge too small.
Yeah, nothing too big. We I mean, hey, I might not know at the time, but I'll work it out.
Yeah, nice. Beautiful. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having me.